Hello,
Hi.
welcome to That'll Be the Tism, a podcast about our lives as late diagnosed and or discovered, no, and discovered autistic and ADHD adults.
How does that happen every time?
I don't know. I change my mind about what I'm supposed to say, and then I end up trying to say the same thing and then forgetting.
Well, I'm not going to judge you too much because it means I don't have to do it.
What happens is I decide that we are diagnosed, and then I remember that I'm not diagnosed as autistic. So I can't just say diagnosed, I have to say and or discovered. And then
Um,
every time I forget, because I'm almost diagnosed as autistic, because from my ADHD diagnosis, he said await an official diagnosis because he told me that I'm autistic, but he wasn't allowed to tell me that I'm autistic. So
mm, hopefully someone will tell you that you're autistic soon.
one day.
Well, someone's told me officially, which is
Mm.
nice, and it will be my Tismversary soon.
Oh, when is it?
I think it's the 18th of December.
That's my brother's birthday.
But I mean, officially, I've had it all of the time. I just didn't know about it until
You'll have to have a party.
I was having my assessment maybe around this time. It was the end of November last year.
Maybe we could do like a little social media thing.
My tism is one.
Do like a little party hat or something on like your diagnosis letter or like a fidget toy with a party
Well,
hat.
any excuse for cake.
Yeah, you can definitely have cake on your tis anniversary, I would say.
Mm,
Yeah.
I will.
Oh well, there we go.
Maybe that'll work out well for a recording, and we can have Claire's tism is one.
Well, we will be doing a podcast that week and we can have like a little birthday party, tism party.
Tism party. Write that
Mhm.
down.
So yes, anyway, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for listening. We will talk about some stuff and ramble on, and there might be some semblance of order because we always make a plan.
Yep.
We will have some hyper focuses and what's been going on, and then we'll have a main section, and then we'll have a trait of the week, and then we'll have a random animal fact that Claire has.
Yes, I've
So
not told you what it is about yet, but we've
yeah.
had a few animal suggestions this week, haven't we?
Yes,
So
we
we've
have.
got
We've got
we're
a queue now. We've got a waiting list.
spoiled. Yeah, we're spoiled for choice animal wise. We've had continued good feedback about the podcast. We've reached 500 streams on
Yes.
Spotify, which we were very happy about.
Very exciting times.
And we've got a new country in the countries where we've been listened to. I don't know
Yeah.
whether you know this.
I don't think so.
The United Arab Emirates.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Hmm.
Thank you, person in the UAE.
Yeah, I don't know much about there, but I hope it doesn't put us on any sort of watch lists.
I hope not. I don't want to be on any watch lists. Maybe when we talk about Hitler next time,
Yes.
which
Yes.
might be a thing that actually happens. Did I say the
No.
number? I forgot to say the episode number, but it's episode 16 because I've just checked the spreadsheet.
Yes.
So we're on episode
Gary
16. Gary was 15. He's doing very
Gary
well.
was 15. Gary's done fantastically. If you haven't met Gary yet, then please, what are you doing with your life?
Can you remember where Is He Gary was?
No.
And as I edited it, I thought I need to write this down because I'd forgotten. And I still can't remember now. I'd forgotten and I didn't write it down because I was like, no, I'll remember now that I've seen it again. So it's a
Yeah.
mystery to us where the title Is He Gary came from.
Gary is a mystery.
If you listen to the podcast, Is He Gary, the last one, and you can see where it might have heard Is He Gary, then let us know because all the other ones we've been able to identify in hindsight, whereas this one, I have no idea where in that podcast he could have thought you said that.
Yeah, it's a really unsatisfying end to the game
Yeah, sorry.
this time, isn't it?
We'll try again next time.
But other options were
That was that
Yorkshire
one.
Terrier,
Was that it?
Mabel the Mower,
Yes.
and Coordination Street, which was
Coordination Street.
Coronation Street.
Yes. Coordination Street's probably a really good name for a dyspraxia-based podcast.
Mm.
We're not going to do that.
No, I don't Do I need any more neurodivergence? Some would
Aye,
say I've got an adequate amount of neurodivergence and I don't need any more.
I'm dyspraxic. I got my
Yeah.
dyspraxia diagnosis with my ADHD diagnosis. It was a nice twofer. I wasn't expecting it, and it made a lot of sense because I am very good at falling over. It's one of my biggest skills in life, and I was late to be able to tie my shoelaces, and I still use bunny ears, and I can't do the through method that a lot of people do. And yeah, it's an exciting one. Anyway, Coordination Street would be a good name for a dyspraxia podcast, but
Yeah, good
we're
name
not
for
going to
your
make it.
spin-off.
I don't think I've got the energy.
Are we going to circle back to why we were talking about Hitler?
No, how have you been, Claire?
So, I've left the house 3 times this week, 4 times in fact.
Wow.
So I went to watch my mum sing in a Remembrance Day parade thing. So that was one thing. And that is also a 2 for 1 because now I've mentioned my mum.
Yes,
And that's within the first 10 minutes of the podcast.
well done.
So hopefully she'll continue to listen.
Fingers crossed. Write
Yeah.
notes. Write notes, Claire's mom. I like it when you write notes. Thanks.
All Emma's saying is that every time you listen to one of our episodes, then we need to have an essay
Now
afterwards.
you've done it once.
Mm,
You've set a precedent.
yes. So went to see my mum in that was a leaving the house experience. There were a lot of people there, which is outside of my comfort zone. Then I went to work in the office on the Tuesday, and again that's still outside of my comfort zone. And then I went to lunch with my colleagues on the Wednesday, and that's also outside of my comfort zone and also more people than I'm used to seeing. So by the Thursday, my brain was done with the week. I was struggling to concentrate on work and things like that, and I just didn't feel like I was in my own brain, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just a bit floaty for the rest of the week. So I had to have a bit of a rest when I finally got to Saturday. Had a bit of a rest, didn't really do much all day, and said to my husband, I'm really sorry. I feel like I should be getting out of bed and doing X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z? X, Y, and Z. Come on now.
Y and Z is right.
Z. Is it
Z is English.
W,
Z
X,
is
Y, Z, Z? I don't know. One of the
Z.
two.
Z is American English.
I don't know. You know when do you get this? Like when you hear someone's name or you hear a word and you're like, sometimes I'll hear the name Claire and I'll be like, that doesn't even sound like my name. Is that really my name?
Yeah, that happens with overwhelm.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking about it for ages. Like, when I
Yeah.
call my husband it like his shortened version of his name and I'm like, that's weird. That's your
I'm
name.
I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of an example. But yeah, sometimes words just don't feel right in your mouth or your ears.
Yeah. So I think I was a bit spoonless for the majority of the end of last week.
Mm.
Because being sociable's hard for us as people that it doesn't come naturally to.
No.
Um, that's
And
not
now
been
you're
a
not used
bad.
to it as well. Now you're not used to
Yeah,
it after it's been quite a long time since you've had to do it very often. When you do it 3 times in a week is a lot.
yeah, yeah. So then yesterday, I decided that I wanted to wash some blankets, and I'd heard about this place that you can go that's outside the supermarket, and it's washing machines and it
Oh
dries them
yeah,
as well. And I
yeah.
thought, oh, I'll just do that and see what happens, like see if it's any good. Looked it up and went and sort of coordinated it, planned it all as I do as a tistic person. Tistic person? No.
That's
Is
fine.
that...
Don't worry. We're all right.
Am I allowed to call it tistic?
I think. Why not, eh?
Yeah, well, anyway, I am, so deal with it. And then I thought I'll do a tiny bit of shopping because I don't like shopping either. Went in the supermarket and got something nice because I thought, well, it's doing that. I'll just have Morrison's salad in the car because Morrison's salad boxes are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, good.
We've bonded over this before.
We have.
Anyway, I went to go to the machine and it said it had no internet. So
Oh,
Came home and washed them in my washing machine.
oh no. So was that after you'd put it in and
Yeah, but
thought
it
you'd set it
obviously didn't
going?
start because I couldn't pay.
No.
But I went to another one because there's three locally to us. I went to another one
Oh,
and they were all full. And I thought it's just not meant to be this. I'll just have to wash my blankets at home. So my entire reason for making myself leave the house was just pointless. But I did get to buy some nice things from Morrison's. So, and we're
that's
not sponsored by Morrison's, but if Morrison's want to sponsor us and send us lots of salad boxes, unlimited salad boxes,
banoffee pie. They do like a
I
nice little banoffee tart thing in Morrison's.
I would leave the house for that.
Yeah, and they do a strawberry tart as well. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
They do. It's
But most
reminded
of,
me of the fuel fiasco that I had like
oh yeah.
last week when I went to get fuel. There's lots of topics in that, isn't there? There's lots of
Mm.
topics. We're like sat thinking, oh, what's happened? I'm sure things have happened that we were going to talk about. And the fuel fiasco of the great fuel fiasco of 2025. I bought a new car, as I discussed in the last episode. And then I've bought a car that takes petrol. And petrol is one of my smells that I hate, like really, really strongly hate, and it makes me gag. And when I was a kid, every time I went to the petrol station with my dad, I used to have to cover my nose. I've got a lot more memories of being at petrol stations with my dad than with my mum, and I don't know why, because usually it was both of them in the car. But anyway, and I used to have to cover my nose because it makes me retch. And when I first put fuel in this new car, I was like, oh no, for what? For not using the cursed term that came out of my mouth. Yeah, I swore and had to just ignore it. And so the second time I went to fill it up, and it takes a while with ADHD to go and fill a car. ADHDers are quite commonly leaving the car until the very last minute when there's like 3 miles left in the tank or whatever to go and fill it up. And got to the fuel station, there was a big queue, and I queued, and I was annoyed because of the smell, and I was panicking about it, and I have to build myself up to it because I knew it was going to make me feel ill. And then I got to the pump that I normally use, and it was pay at pump only that moment. And I don't know why it was, but it was, and I didn't have my card with me, and the fuel station that I went to doesn't accept touch payment, so I couldn't use my phone, and it was just too much. So I went home. Instead of going back and queuing again, my intention was to go into the shop and get some chocolate to make up for the fact that I'd had to
Mm.
have sensory overload by smelling the bleeding petrol. And so I would have had to go back to start the queue and queue again, and my son was in the car, and I'd had enough. And so I just drove home and ranted about it on the internet. Because that was, like when you go somewhere and it's just the last straw. It was just the last thing. I had a bit of a meltdown about it in the car, and I got home and I was really upset with myself. And then my very lovely fiance took the car and filled it up for me when he went to the supermarket later that morning. So that was the end of the story. I didn't have to go, and he filled it up because I sent him the money to fill it up. And so I still haven't had to go back yet. And I won't have to until this weekend. And then he's driving, I think, on Sunday. So he will be able to fill the car up. I'll be able to just sit in the car and hold my top over my nose.
Well, are you aware of my skill at A, not having to top up my car very much, and B, generally when I do top it up, someone else pays for it.
What?
So, because I don't take my car out very much, when I do take my car out, often there won't be a lot of petrol left in it. So it's a bit of a running joke now. My husband will go out in the car and my husband will be driving my car and I'll go, oh, there isn't a lot of petrol, so he'll top it up for me. And then the last time that my car got topped up was when our friend came over from America and he borrowed my car.
Oh, that's a while ago.
Took it out, yeah. So took it out and then realised that there was no petrol and he came back and he went, oh, you've played a blinder there. There weren't a lot of petrol left. And my husband's like, well, obviously you weren't aware of the law of me not topping up my car. And then last Christmas, when I had a car accident, I took my car to repair it and they fetched it back and they said, oh, we've had to put £10 in it for you because your petrol light was coming on. So I've also had £10 free petrol from the people that fixed my car. So maybe I need to run a course on it or something on how not to pay for
Maybe.
your own petrol.
I mean, I got a
Because
comment on my Facebook about how at least I didn't have to pay for it when my fiance went and got it. But I did transfer in the money to do it, which
yes, you
I thought that
know,
was kind of me.
I probably should do with my husband, but and also I didn't with our friend because he was taking the car out places
Yeah.
and what have you while he was here, and I was doing him a favour. But
But
yeah,
that's the thing
I'm
though, if
still
someone
running the
else is,
car around on that petrol now,
yeah, if so,
and they came in August.
I was gonna say that was a long time ago. Did he completely fill it?
Yeah,
That was very generous of him.
yeah, and I
Still
will.
listening to the podcast.
As far as I know, so if you are listening to the podcast, thank you for funding my travel for the past 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
Well done. Good one.
Yeah.
That's
Can you
very
plan another holiday around Christmas? Actually, I think I've got a fair amount of petrol left, so you can come in March if you want. I'll probably need some more petrol.
Oh, well, okay. So
So, how are you, Emma, aside from the petrol fiasco?
I'm all right. I'm tired. There's a lot's been happening in my life. I've got kittens. They ventured into my office recently just before we started recording, but then they ran away. So that's the
Mm,
end of that story. They're very nice. They're very full of energy, and they have livened our house up, and it's been really lovely to have them. I think the main thing to talk about has been HyperJapan, which happened on Saturday. Last year, we went to a comic convention called Thought Bubble, which is in Harrogate, and we planned the same thing again for this year, and then we decided to get kittens, and so it would have been a bit longer day if we'd have been to Harrogate and left them on their own all that time. So it worked out quite well because the same weekend was a convention called Hyper Japan in Manchester, which is a Japanese culture festival, which was really busy, but it was a lot of fun. There was lots of artists and like nerdy stuff, basically, and Japanese food, and there was some taiko drums and some Japanese singers and some matcha. I didn't have any sake, but there was also sake and some Japanese snacks and things. And we went there on Saturday, and it was quite nice. A lot of the artists and stall holders there are neurodivergent because a lot of them have different badges and stickers and things about being neurodivergent. So it was nice to have some conversations. I went fully branded in my Navigating Neurodivergence t-shirt and hoodie because I don't want to say it's a captive audience because that sounds incredibly stereotypical, but a lot of people that are into nerd culture and into things enough to go to conventions, it generally involves some kind of special interest. And so
mm,
a lot of people that are neurodivergent. So I was like, right, I paid for this branding clothing and I will wear it. But yeah, so I went there and it was really lovely, but it was full on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I had my son home and he was singing all day from the moment he woke up to the moment he went to sleep. He started performing along to the YouTube songs that he has on his Spotify playlist. He dances and sings in Spanish, doesn't know what the words are. Yeah, they're all in Spanish. It's not a particularly fun time for me, but yeah, so it was a very, very loud weekend, all in all.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm not so much of a hyper focus section, but that's okay because the hyper focus section is a bit of a catch up section as well, isn't it, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I mean, the hyperfocus would have probably been more about the kittens, but I decided, yeah, good.
Good.
Anyway, are we moving on? Are we moving on to the main section?
Yes.
Main section, main segment, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a rave?
Yes, I was going to say, but I feel like I might lose the dog in this.
Oh, is she on your knee?
She's on my knee, yeah, and she's fidgeting about, grumbling. I think she's too warm.
You might have to do a slow motion rave or a clever rave, a careful rave.
Are you joining the rave, Ben?
There she is. Are you ready?
Oh, no, 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 no. We need to have a rave, Ben.
That's licking face, not raving.
Well,
Ready and go. That'll do.
Bernie
Well done.
featured in the entirety of that rave.
Well
If
done.
anybody wants to watch it,
What?
Bernie featured in, like, her face was just popping up.
Yeah, I saw you did a very good job of being careful.
Yeah, it was one-handed rave this time for
That's
me.
It's completely fair. I was hoping to have some kittens to show, as I say. I lifted Juliet up to show Claire, and she didn't like either the microphone or the laptop or the whole experience. She's a very tiny cat. We've got one tiny, tiny, tiny kitten, and the other one quite large kitten, and they both came from the same place at the same time, and it's quite startling how different in size they are, probably based on how much one of them eats and how much the other one moves.
Yeah.
So, yes. Anyway, main section.
The main section.
That's the one.
Main section. It's about health
Health
things.
things. Dentists. Dentists have inspired the main section this week. As mentioned on the last podcast, I had a filling booked, and so I had a filling last Monday at the time we would normally be recording the podcast, and I'd never had a filling before. I'd been to the dentist a couple of weeks before that. I was going to talk about it in the last podcast, and then I didn't because I had so many other things to talk about. I've been looking for a dentist for a very long time, and I went to the dentist, needed 3 fillings, which the dentist said was impressive considering that I hadn't been to see a dentist for nearly 15 years. And so I went for my first filling ever. And it was quite nerve-wracking because it was a completely new experience. I didn't really know what to expect. At my age especially, I felt a bit of an idiot asking people what to expect from a filling because you would expect someone would know by 40. So I was quite anxious going. So I didn't really get much work done before. And then I went to the dentist, and the dentist was really great. I mean, she told me what was going to happen. She gave me some space. I went a bit dizzy halfway through, which I think was a noise thing. It's very loud. Getting a filling is very, very loud.
Yeah.
I've got another one in December, and that's the thing I need to prepare for, is the fact that it's very loud, and I need to not plan anything afterwards because I didn't like the face unnumbing part. And I think we're just going to have a bit of a conversation now about asking for what we need in those settings and the reason why we don't like to go to the dentist often, and like all the healthcare stuff is difficult to approach because of a lot of reasons around autism and control and sensory stuff and all of that.
I mean, you can't get up much more close and personal than you are in a doctor's or in a dentist, can you?
No.
Which is number one. And then there's the sensations that even just being numb is a different sensation, isn't it? It's not one that you're used to.
No. When I hadn't been to the dentist for 15 years, you don't know what's going on in your mouth, and you just don't know if a dentist's going to look in your mouth and say, "What the hell? What are you doing? You know, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Why haven't you been to a dentist?" And you've got the whole judgment if you haven't been for a while, for whatever reason. And the longer you don't go for, the worse that fear gets, I think, is that because you don't know what's happening, because you can't, unless you're Bob Mortimer, who does his own dentistry, apparently, you don't know what's going on in your own mouth. So there's a lot of fear of judgment, I think, from the dentist. And I was very, very relieved when she said to me, considering you haven't been for so long, your teeth are really impressive. But I'm quite obsessive about my teeth because of being picked on as a kid for having bad breath. I know a lot of autistic people and neurodivergent people struggle with dental hygiene because of the sensory element, whereas I am obsessive about it, and I hate the sensory feeling of food getting stuck in my teeth, which is why I went to the dentist, because it was happening more and more and it was just driving me up the wall. And I was in quite a lot of pain. And now I can eat again without it being uncomfortable and without needing to floss every 5 seconds. And I don't have to worry, but because the sensation of having food stuck in my teeth is just makes me feel really shuddery. So I have that. which made it easier.
Do you think a lot of it's like as well, thinking about the dentist, but also putting off medical appointments and things is that until you sit in front of a professional that tells you the things, you can sort of pretend that it's not happening. And because you've already potentially ruminated and thought about all the different things that they could say, like if you have a pain in your stomach and you put off going to the doctors because you don't want, I mean, I suppose nobody wants to be told bad news, but for us thinking when I go and they're going to tell me the bad news and then what am I going to do, and thinking 10 steps
Yeah,
down the line as well, like going to the dentist, if I go to the dentist now, are they going to say they're going to take all my teeth out? When I was a kid, I had a real fear of the dentist. It was one of the things that I had a lot of support with when I was a kid. We'll say that to get to the stage where I could go and have fillings and things like that. And I think it all stemmed from the idea of not being in control of what was happening. And
yeah,
I'd gone to have a tooth taken out, I think was the start of it. It was when they used to use gas and air. And I
okay,
said, no, 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 I don't want this to happen. I must have only been about 6 or 7, said, oh, I want to go to the loo. And they'd gone, no. And then I were asleep. And when I woke up, all the teeth that needed to be taken out had gone. So it's control and it's
autonomy.
trust as well, because you want to find somebody that you trust is going to take good care of you and is going to know that. Now for me it's about somebody explaining things to me properly, like you say, step by step, saying this is what I'm going to do next,
Yeah,
this is what I'm going to do next, and this is why I'm doing that, and this is how long it's going to take, so you can sort of prepare yourself.
yeah. I mean, that's a really, really important, and it's okay to ask as well for it. A lot of people feel awkward asking for that clear breakdown, and
Mm,
like we should be able to just accept what's going on. But when we don't know about something, it's like the need to learn about what's going to happen when we go for different procedures and stuff is very common, and looking it up, and Google is
yeah.
our worst enemy at sometimes as well as our best friend at others. So it's finding out when you want to find out what's going on in a procedure, having the person that's doing it explain rather than necessarily spending time Googling stuff, because Googling symptoms and stuff is the worst thing that
Mm,
anyone can do, because Google's always going to tell you the worst case scenario. And like you said, with going through the various different options when you've got symptoms, when you've got something wrong, yeah, there's all sorts of like spirals that we go down when we're putting off going to something. And the benefit of going and finding out, it saves a lot of energy and ruminating on it.
mm. And I mean,
Um,
I didn't know that I was autistic, obviously, when I was trying to get over the fear, overcome it. But one of the big things that always helped me was to have somebody that was, like we said, to give you the steps. And I had this dentist that was really straightforward, and she'd get on with what she needed to do. And she wouldn't necessarily, it's not techno for an answer, but she would sort of include me in the decision making, which is what healthcare is really supposed to be about anyway, especially
absolutely.
nowadays. But back in like the 1990s, that wasn't necessarily the case. It was like, I've got a job to do and I've got this scared little kid and I don't really care that she's absolutely petrified.
They were still kind of holding you down and getting on with it till the day.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll have realised what impact that would have had on me for such a long time. I've had lots of trouble with my teeth and had to have lots of stuff done with them. But it's similar for like, which is why we wanted to talk about it really, is to frame it with healthcare and asking for what you need, especially in the NHS. You can ask for reasonable adjustments there as well if you've got things that would make it more comfortable for you to go to a doctor's appointment, like an appointment at a quiet time, a double appointment,
Yeah,
rather than having to speak on the phone to communicate with you via text or communicate with you via letter, or if you're in a consultation with a clinician and they're telling you something, saying, can you write it down for me, or can you make sure that I've understood?
yeah,
That's a big thing, because you can go out of an appointment with a doctor and go, well, I think they
what
said
is-
this, but they
yeah,
could have said that and they could have said that. And you've had it recently, haven't you, with your with
Oh,
your
the ADHD meds has been ridiculous.
yeah, and it's little things, and you can ask for that to be on your medical records as well. And there's a thing in the NHS at the moment trying to share that with different settings, so you're only having to say it once.
That's handy.
There's like something called a digital flag. If you've got something coded as a reasonable adjustment on your record,
Okay.
it will transfer to other NHS settings, or it should do. That's the idea of it. Another thing that I've also thought to mention, which is relevant, is that you can have a passport. There's one on the National Autistic Society website, and
Okay.
you keep it with you, and you fill out things like, I would like to be communicated to in this way. These sorts of things make me feel safe. I
Oh,
like
that's
to be called
interesting.
this. And the passport stays with you, but you can let your doctor have a copy, you can let your consultant have a copy, so that it minimises that having to keep telling the same story to people of what your needs are and how you'll be more comfortable.
That sounds
We can
amazing.
put a link in the description as well about
Yeah, we
that.
can
It's
do that.
only just come to me right now that I'm like, oh, I know about this and I can tell people about it because I think it's a really good idea. And it's like a 2 or 3 page document, and there might be bits that aren't relevant to you, but you can take that with you and just say, you need to have this on my record. They can put codes on your record so it shows up on the front screen so they're not having to read that document every time.
Yeah, that's great. My health passport, National Autistic Society.
It's all good, but if people don't know about it, it doesn't get used, does it? And I think unless you know what sort of things you can ask for
Yes.
from, because you wouldn't you'd think about reasonable adjustments at work, wouldn't you? But you wouldn't necessarily think about reasonable adjustments in a healthcare setting.
No,
But then
absolutely.
why shouldn't you also be able to ask for things that will make you more comfortable in those settings when quite often doctors' waiting rooms and dentist waiting rooms are really like the lights are really bright and it smells clinical.
Yeah.
That was one of the main things that I used to hate at the dentist was sitting in the waiting room if they were behind. So if
Being
they're
pressed.
behind, it'd get to a point where I would have to leave.
Right.
But then, because I knew that that would happen, I would say, if you're not going to be on time, can you tell me? And then I'll go and
Then you
sit in the
can
car
just,
until it's time. Somebody can ring you when you need to come
yeah,
in. And that works for medical appointments as well, because when you go and you're waiting and you're thinking, what are they going to say to me? It sort of builds up that ruminating, doesn't it? That you think they're going to say this, this, and this, and it's all going to be terrible, and
in the car you
it's
can
going to
sit
be
and
the end of the
distract yourself.
world.
Yeah. Actually, I'm taking my son. He's never been to the dentist before. And we're going tomorrow. And the dentist literally said to me, if we can get him in to see what it's about, and then I can have a chat with him and he can sit on the chair and, we can show him things. And if he lets us look in his mouth, then it's a bonus, but there
Oh,
won't be any pressure. And I disclosed about my autism and ADHD on my patient introductory form thing, which is the first time I've done that anywhere because I've not had to fill anything in like that, I don't think, since I got my diagnosis. And so I put that on there, and I know I'll do the same thing for him. But yeah, in other healthcare places, as well as dentists, as Claire has said.
so the upshot is that there's reasons why health appointments can be difficult for neurodivergent people, and if there is anything that you think that would make an appointment easier, then ask for it
Yeah,
because you're allowed to do that.
yeah, support
And
is available.
yeah,
Don't make it more difficult for yourself than it already
yeah,
is by not asking. And if somebody says no, then ask someone else. Go to a
I
different
would hope that they
provider.
wouldn't say no.
I'm hoping they wouldn't say no, but you've got to think of a worst case scenario, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because Tism.
Yes, that's the other thing that I would say is if there's a doctor or a dentist or something that you don't get on with and that doesn't seem to understand,
Go
yeah,
to a
you'd
different
want
one.
to be loyal, but it's okay to go and find somebody that will understand because otherwise you're just going to be put off of going.
Yeah. Oh, on a similar note, I was talking to someone the other day who has been seeing a therapist for a number of years, and they haven't. really seen a lot of improvement from having seen that therapist for a number of years, and we can get comfortable in situations, and because we struggle with change and we struggle to end relationships, and we've already
Mm.
talked about struggling with ending things, and I sort of suggested to the person it might be time to try a different therapist. It's neuroaffirming, and they hadn't considered why they were keeping that relationship going, apart from it's something that's happening. It's a part of their routine, it's the person they talk to, it's their safe place. But when you're paying someone for a service, if that service isn't actually doing what you
Mm.
need, it is okay to change provider. And that's kind of what you just said. But with therapy, it can be really
Mm.
tricky to end that relationship with that person who has been your safe space. It is always okay if you're with a service provider or getting a service from somebody. It's always okay to change that service if it's not working for
Mm.
you, whether it's NHS, whether you're paying privately, whatever it is. Yeah,
So might as well be getting
what you need.
what you need. I changed doctors because I think I've mentioned before that my GP lost my autism referral. Well,
Oh, I
it
didn't know you'd change doctors because of that.
yeah, well, it was part of it, yeah.
Mm.
And because, well, I was going for stomach pain the year after, and I just kept getting fobbed off. It was about 3 months, and I still don't know why it was. But I
Oh.
just thought, I don't trust you anymore. And if it's going to put you off going if you have another problem, and I just thought, it's not in the same town where I live anymore, it's a drive. But I'd heard better things about them, so I thought I trust them more, and they've been spot on, to be fair.
And you never have to pay for your own petrol anyway, so at least still free to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I can go wherever I like. I just
Yeah.
need to make sure that I have guests and husbands and car accidents. No, I don't want any more car accidents, although I am about due one because I tend to have one.
You're not due a car accident, Claire, just to clarify.
No.
A
Well,
car accident is never due.
no, but it happens around this time of year.
Just because something has happened one way once. I know this is a black and white thinking thing.
It
Just
is,
because
but
something
like
has
it
happened once
doesn't it
or
doesn't
twice.
help. And it was the same person that came the year after to pick my car up for repair and went, I've been here before. I said, yeah, same time last year. And then when he drops the car off, he says, I'll see you again next year.
Oh my God. I mean, it's like how I don't like driving in Wakefield. I haven't been to Wakefield in quite a while. And one of the reasons is because the last two times I was there, I got a speeding ticket.
And that automatically means that you're
Next time I
incapable of
go,
controlling your speed in Wakefield.
Wakefield, I mean, completely incapable. Maybe it's got some kind of omnipotence. Is that the right word?
Hmm. Yeah, but maybe Mabel will be different.
Maybe Mabel will like Wakefield. Gosh, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
Mabel, Marble, And on that note, are we going to do
I think that's it.
trait of the week,
I think that's
or
it
are
for the
we going to
main. We're done
do
with the main segment. The trait of the
animal of
week.
the week?
The trait of the week is
Social justice.
yes. Are you going to talk about the maths lady?
Yeah, so now we've spoken before how I like to argue with people on the internet sometimes, and Emma doesn't like to argue with people on the internet sometimes because she can't be bothered, and also because she's ADHD.
It's not because I can't be bothered. It's all RSD. It's like 100%
Well,
RSD. Why I don't.
yeah,
Why I don't. Yeah.
yeah, it's sort of boiling it down a little bit. Anyway,
Mm.
so we're talking about social justice because I didn't realise it was a Tism thing until I was a Tism person.
Yeah.
I've always been a Tism person. I just didn't know I
Didn't
was a Tism
realise
person.
until you were
Anyway,
diagnosed. Yes.
I didn't realise the extent of the Tism that dwelled within my person until this time last year. Anyway, but I have always, haven't I, liked to have an argument on the internet
You
or a
just like to stand
debate.
up. You like to stand up for what is
I like
right,
to
and
talk,
that's
is
social
what
justice.
happens on the internet. And if we go back to the community where we met
Yeah.
online, I was known by several people for getting into discussions. And
Mhm.
one person said that, what did they say? I was the most terrible person they'd ever met, even though they've never met me.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my autistic way. So I've got a long history of saying things on the internet. Got a long career. And the reason why we chose it for this one is because I watched Married at First Sight, and there was a person on the program who, during the process of the program and all the psychological checks, somebody had said to her, do you think that you might be neurodivergent? And then after the program, she's gone and got the diagnosis, and she's spoken to the media about the fact that she's been diagnosed, and the headline was that she'd received a life-changing diagnosis. And this person in the comments said it's hardly life-changing. And I was like, well, that depends on the person's life, who you're talking about. And obviously spoke about some of the stuff that we spoke about last time, like just because you have this experience of things doesn't mean everybody has the same experience. Like we all experience things in different ways because the person that had made that original comment also divulged that they were ADHD.
Mhm.
I sort of had this big rant at them and then they've deleted all the comments, but I still stand by it because I think that
Yeah.
someone else seeing that and thinking, well, she says it's not life changing, so it's not life changing.
I think people see life changing and they put their own meaning to it, don't they, at the end of the day? But
And I'm
that's
like,
not the
well,
actual meaning.
no, it can be life changing in a bad way or it can be life changing in a good way. And I just thought in my brain, it is life changing
Yeah.
in a good way because I've learned so much more about myself and why my brain works like it does, and how is that not life changing? It has changed my life.
Yeah. That would be the same. I would say
And
that it's definitely finding out about my neurodivergence is just, I can't, there's not very much about my life that's the same as it was
yeah,
before. So,
yeah,
for me, it's been
but
enormous.
I just read things, and obviously I don't need to get involved and not correct people, but just offer an alternative viewpoint. But sometimes, and especially when I'm like low on spoons, I don't necessarily have the control to go, no, I won't post that.
Yeah. I mean, it's very common. The social justice thing with autism is exceptionally common because we see things and we want them to be right and we want people to say when things are right and when things are wrong, and we
Mm,
like to make sure that when people are commenting or judging or being dicks, that we kind of pull them up on it and say, hang on a
mm,
minute, this isn't right. And it's not a bad thing. It's just something that, yeah, it's not only an autistic thing. There's people that aren't autistic that get social justice things, but generally a strong sense of morals would be another way to describe the trait. That when we think something should be this way and the whole world should comply, it kind of can get a bit messy when we
Do
have
you think
strong.
it's a lot of being the empathy side of things? Like a lot of people don't necessarily like know what emotions feel like, so you overcompensate, don't you? Because you don't know what that person's thinking or feeling, you over
Well,
emote.
yes. So emotions with empathy, um, because social justice happens generally because of, or can happen because of empathy. If we see someone is being done wrong, or if there's been a headline and someone's taken it the wrong way and been a dick about it, and there's the whole, sometimes autistic people find it difficult to explain empathy or can have strong reactions to it. And a lot of people, like the stereotypical view, is that autistic people don't really experience empathy, but commonly we experience more empathy than is usual or that is the norm.
Yeah.
Um, and social justice can be an example of that, but it can also be an example of black and white thinking, where you're essentially, this is how it should be, and struggle to see other viewpoints because of
Yeah.
black and white thinking. So when you get a combination of those things and it's a topic that you feel strongly about and somebody
Mm.
has been done wrong, it kind of adds up.
Well, I think that's the conclusion I came to because this person just wasn't backing down. And I thought, actually, they probably think that they're right.
Mm.
that it's not life-changing because it wasn't life-changing for them and they can't see a world how it would be life-changing for anybody else.
Mm.
So I'd sort of like calmed it down a bit and just said maybe just have a think about because I think if you don't know, it sometimes does take someone to say to you, have a think about it from this perspective, and you go, oh yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think a lot of it for me is it definitely is thinking about how it would feel if I were in their shoes and that was being said about me. And
Yeah.
my brain just wants everybody to be able to do what they want to do in life. But then on the other hand, I'm arguing with people on the internet, so clearly I don't want everyone to be able to do what they want to do in life.
I think it's difficult to say, isn't it? Because I think at the end of the day, if you're in defense of people, if somebody's posted something or there's something online, then there's people commenting and trolling and being an arsehole in response. Then it's only right that we defend that. I mean,
Mm,
you're not the one doing the trolling. Sometimes if people post things I don't agree with, I'll stay off those because I don't want the people to get the visibility. Because
mm,
if the post in itself is to be a troll, to get interactions is to gain visibility, then I
yeah.
tend to stay away from that because they say that all press is good press or yeah,
Mm,
and the more interactions something has on social media, the more interactions it will get because the more people it will be shown to. Whereas if it's a comment, I mean, there was a thing on Instagram last week that was someone had posted that she'll say like the F word in front of her kids, but she'll never say, Mummy's not going to have a piece of cake because she's trying to be good. And there was a lot of support. I shared that because I wholeheartedly believe that as parents, our responsibility is to help our children have healthy relationships with food. And the more knowledge that there is now around health and eating and how our relationship with food impacts our weight so much. And as someone with a
mm.
disorder myself, a binge eating disorder, um, I shared it. And there was someone had posted a comment saying it's really sad that you're not teaching your children discipline. So I responded and said, not feeling guilty about eating a piece of cake isn't discipline, it's trauma, because it is. At the end of the
Mm,
day, we shouldn't be feeling guilty. Being able to make educated choices and choices about what our body needs without feeling guilty, fantastic. But feeling guilty and having to be good and not have cake is not a healthy relationship with food.
mm,
Anyway, quite a few people have liked my response. I'm like, that's the kind of thing that, if you're seeing something online and you've gone against it just to be a dick.
just to be a dick, yeah, that's
It's
not
not
the right thing. And I don't think I generally do. I think I'll read stuff and I'll go, I disagree with that,
yeah,
and I can
social
back that
justice
up.
kicks in.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the trait of the week, social justice. You're welcome.
Yes.
We've got, do you want to tell me what this animal fact is? I'm
Right now,
excited. I've been
prepare
waiting,
yourself.
waiting for so long.
Prepare yourself.
I'm prepared, I think.
Lemurs' vaginas have no permanent opening. For 24 to 72 hours in July of a good year, their vagina will open. There's a brief frenzy of mating, and then they close up again.
Whoa, hang on, right. Lemurs
Lemurs, vaginas.
only have 24 to 72 hours a year.
Yeah, their opening times are
Are they the
always.
same for all lemurs?
Well, I've looked into it a bit because I wanted to make sure like it was a valid thing, and I think it's black and white collared. But I think it's a number of types of lemur. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
And they're all in sync.
Well, this is how I think that they've picked up on the story because when I was reading into it, because I went down a complete rabbit hole, it had come from this story of this scientist that goes to Madagascar every year to study them.
Mm.
And apparently, the opening will only open when the conditions are right, and then they'll have lots of lemur babies. But that might sometimes be like 5 years between cycles.
Oh,
It
wow.
might not, it's only a good year, it's not every July. But what they're noticing now is that something has happened because the lemurs are mating earlier in this specific part of Madagascar.
Global warming.
but they don't know whether it might be something to do with like a nutrient that they're not getting or that they are getting that's affecting the cycle,
Right.
which means that their bodies are going, oh, it's opening time, lads. Um, so that's one of the things.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So, and then another thing that I found about lemurs when I was looking was that there's a specific type of lemur that they all sing together in the trees.
Sing.
They sing a cappella. Yeah.
Oh, that's mint. There's going to be a recording of that somewhere. I'll have to.
Yeah, they're called like Ignia ones or something like that. But yeah, it's a friend of the show that sent it to me, and we had a little discussion about the whole situation of the lemur vaginas. And I was like, I don't really want to become a podcast
Just
about animal genitals, but I think that might have already happened.
That's very interesting. It's not everyone, though. It's not all of the animal facts. Not all of the animal facts are about genitalia. Out of the 15 episodes, less than half of them will have included tangents specifically about genitals. And it's just, sometimes the interesting animal fact is about the genitalia. And I think it's really interesting. Yeah, lemurs are, yeah, they've got to be in the right place at the right time then, haven't they?
We've got to be, yeah. Um,
Is it something they're trying to emulate, like the conditions, to try and figure
I
out
think it's
what?
just something that they've noticed over the past like few times that they've visited that there's like
Mm,
because they were saying like as well that it used to be that because of obviously this specific time that the opening times
mm,
of the lemur vaginas that it was quite always reasonably successful. There was a quite a high success rate, like most of the lemurs would have
they would be ready.
multiple babies,
Yeah,
whereas this time there's earlier and less.
yeah.
So I think
And
currently it's somebody's job somewhere to study why these lemurs' vaginas are opening
because the
earlier
male lemurs
and
wouldn't
more
definitely wouldn't have
often.
been ready.
That's one of the other lemur facts that I found out. In lemur communities, females are dominant in lemur
Oh,
communities,
okay.
and they have a dominant female. So they're one of the few animal communities where females are dominant, and they will steal food from males. They'll kick them out of the living quarters.
That's-
Sounds a lot like humans, really, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah. I think it's. I was going to say as it should be, but that's not necessarily the case. But yes, that's interesting.
Mm,
I don't think there should be any kicking men out of the sleeping quarters. Was it anglerfish where the male just essentially just becomes a parasite on the side of the female? It was, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Lemurs. I don't know if it's all lemurs, but definitely I think it's like the black and white ruffled ones were the
Well,
ones that I was reading about this afternoon that are in Madagascar. Because apparently that's where all lemurs are from as
mm,
well.
okay.
And there's lots of different types of lemurs.
It would be interesting to see about mating programs and things in zoos and whatnot because they're endangered,
Mm,
aren't they? So
mm.
I imagine there'll be some kind of efforts to
Well,
um
they said they don't know whether it's signifying that they know that they're becoming endangered, so that's why they're like
can make more often.
changing their downstairs situations.
That's clever.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh
But
well.
apparently, the rest of the time, aside from July of a good year, for 24 to 72 hours, they couldn't have sex even if they wanted to, because there would be nothing there to,
No hole.
no holes.
Oh wow.
And that's not the first time we've said no holes on this podcast, is it?
No, it isn't.
And it won't be the last.
It won't. So warning, if you don't like us talking about holes, probably best find a different podcast.
And some might go, oh, well, why are they talking about animal genitalia again? Because I got sent this thing and I was like, that's a rabbit hole that I will be going down at, if you pardon the pun.
It's interesting. Lemur hole.
Lemur holes, that's what my friend said. You go
Not,
go
not
down the
rabbit
lemur
hole.
hole, but it's only open for 24 to 72 hours every July.
You've got to
Not
make
every
sure.
July, only a good July.
A good year. So you've got to make sure you get all the information down the lemur hole as quickly
Only
as
in
you can.
July.
In July, it's November, so you've
Then
done
it
well.
closes.
Anyway, no, that's very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to our listener for
Thank you, listener.
bringing this genitalia to our attention. She did also mention, which you mentioned to me, kangaroos having 3 vaginas.
3.
I don't quite know why that is. We'll
There
have to
is
find
lots of
out.
reasons, but it's a rabbit hole that I didn't go down because we weren't talking about it today. And so
No, I didn't.
I will look at, but that was mentioned on Taskmaster, which is a thing that
Yes,
has,
you saw it on Taskmaster, and then we realised that our friend of the show had also sent a separate video of it to
yeah.
me and said, maybe this is something that you want to look into, if you pardon the pun. If we're in
Uh,
Australia, I will look into kangaroo vaginas. I keep thinking to myself, how many random animal genital facts can there be? Or like animal facts even, because like there's only got to be so many different variations and weird things, isn't there? But
I
like
think
apparently not.
I think we might be safe. I think there's a lot of random animal facts, and considering that Descript last week said that we were going to keep going for 1,515 episodes,
Yeah.
I think we've only got another 1,499 to find.
Yes. Well,
Um,
and we're already losing count, so God knows
yeah.
when we get to about 100 episodes, we'll probably just
Oh, we need
give
to have
up
a
and
big
just accept
party.
this is episode something of something.
We need to have a big party for our 100th episode. Lots of
Yes,
cake.
that's very ambitious.
I mean, I think it's fine. It's only 4 years, isn't it?
Yeah, I can talk about autism for 4 years.
Yeah. Anywhere will be in 4 years. Anything could have happened between now and then. Anyway, I think that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
We did say goodbye on the last podcast, but
it cut it
we
out. It was
script
weird.
so much, so we're
Yeah.
very sorry that we seemed rude. I did briefly consider dubbing it, but then I realised I didn't know how that worked on Descript, so I left it alone.
The prospect scares me of adding audio. I don't want
Yeah.
to accidentally overwrite all the audio that's there and all the work we've put into editing it by.
That's what I thought. I thought I'm in danger here. So you
But I
didn't
think
get.
it ended on thanks for listening, and I think that worked okay.
Yeah, it was all
So,
right. It was just it wasn't a buy.
no. So if you have any interesting animal facts, if you have any questions about autism, if you have any comments or feedback, please rate us on your podcast provider of choice, follow us, message us on social media, email us at that'llbethetism@gmail.com. All of our links are at linktr.ee/that'llbethetism. That's a yes, guess. That's one of the ways. That's, yeah. Claire's just having a moment for anyone that's not
I'm
watching on
just
video.
slashing. Well, no, no, I'm not.
She's not having
People
a
just
wee.
turn.
She's not having a wee on the podcast, just to clarify. She
Not
was
this time.
doing forward slashes or back slashes with her arms.
Yes.
And it was a time for.
Did I distract you from giving the complete URL, or did you manage to do it?
I did it, I think.
Oh, good.
If I didn't, people will just have to let us
I
know
don't know. I
because I'm
was
not
too
saying it
busy
again.
interpretative dancing.
Yeah, I
No.
think it worked. I think it worked fine. So thank you for listening. I hope this has been
Yes.
an enjoyable experience. Please listen to all of our other episodes and tell us how great they are.
And rates them because Spotify says that that means that they'll push it out to more people, and we want to find more autistic people that we can tell about animal genitals and
And other
autism.
things.
Yes,
Other things
and
to do with
autism
autism and other things that to do with mostly to do with autism, some things to do with
and
our lives
lives, life,
and
life.
life. Kittens.
Oh, life.
Gonna have a piece of toast.
Good times.
Thank you for listening, and
Thanks for
we
coming.
will speak to you in a fortnight.
Bye.